Hi everyone, today we are going to be talking about how to get abs. I've been getting a lot of questions from a lot of people, uh, throughout my fitness journey about how did I achieve my abs. Because as you all know, my story is, I was 250 at the beginning of my fitness journey, and then I cut all the way down to like 180, which was horrible by the way, but it did teach me a lot of lessons, including how to really achieve, a six pack, the abs that everyone is always dreaming of, including myself. The first thing I wanted to go ahead and let you guys know is probably the most important part of achieving abs is that everything is made in the kitchen. 80% of your results, whatever your goal is made in the kitchen. What I mean by that is that you do have to watch what you eat and how much of that do you really eat. So, if you are, whatever you're eating right now, were to go ahead and cut it down by maybe half a meal a day, and continuously do that until you keep on dropping weight, and eventually you will get to a point where you are going to be dropping, water weight and fat and all that stuff. And now you will lose a little bit of muscle when you're cutting down that low, because unless you have a fast metabolism, which usually a lot of skinny people have at the very beginning. If you're at a genetic disadvantage like myself, where I grew up being chubby, so I have a lot of fat cells in my body to where they're very stubborn of letting that fat go. So it took me a little bit longer than normal people to, or people that were skinnier than me, to get the physique that I wanted. Now, dropping your calories will always be the number one priority. So you have to be in a caloric deficit, whether that's eating less or doing more. Simple as that. Go ahead and start from there. Second thing, people ask, is there any way you can specifically target an ab area? So I know a lot of people want that well-defined six-pack, and for some people, including myself, the bottom portion of your abdominals is probably the last part that loses its water and fat. And that's normally because, we all grow up with fat cells, and that's just, I'm not exactly sure what the science is behind it, but that is usually the last place people will go ahead and get, defined. So, can you reduce fat in a single spot in your body? No. I know there's a lot of advertisement, a lot of those videos out there that continuously talk about if you do this exercise, you'll go ahead and gain muscle here, or you'll lose fat here. Now, gaining muscle, sure, you can gain muscle at a targeted area. If you're going to be targeting your chest, 3 times a week, of course it's going to grow. But unfortunately, that's not how it works when you're trying to lose fat, which results in having six-pack or just a four-pack, whatever your ab goal is, or just being well-defined. You will lose fat, muscle, and water in your entire body. You cannot target where you're going to lose that. And if you're one of those people that hold your fat and your water mainly on the abdominals, and specifically your bottom portion of the abdominals, that will most likely be the last place you lose your fat. And that's not to discourage anyone. That just means, that should really encourage you, because if that is the only spot that you haven't really defined yet, you're actually already pretty fit. And if you do want to get that, so unfortunately I can't tell you a specific exercise that will target that, but there are exercises that will go ahead and help grow your abdominals, meaning it'll actually, just like any other muscle, you can grow it to where it will pop out. And as you lose fat and water, they will look that much more well defined. And one of my favorites for that is actually the hanging leg raise. And the benefits of this is you really do get to see how strong your core truly is, right? Because there's 3 ways to measure. So what you want to do is you want to hang on to the bar up top, and you want to have your chest up and your legs straight. And then you just want to basically lift your legs by keeping your hands in check or your arms in check, make sure they're not swinging. You want to make sure your core is actually staying still, it's not swinging, and your legs are actually staying fully straight up and down. Now, I'm at 250, so mine is not going to be perfect. However, even though I don't have my abs right now, abdominal workouts are still just as important, because I know when I do cut down, I'm going to need everything I've had before, but better. So to do that, I still incorporate, and I'm happy that I'm able to do the same amount of reps, and particularly at a heavier weight, 60 pounds heavier than I was on stage. And so that's an accomplishment for me. I'm happy to be able to do that. But for those people that cannot do it, and you can slightly go ahead and bend your knees if that's what it takes to go ahead and keep it straight. But for those people that cannot do that yet, or are just beginners trying to learn the exercise, I suggest you can go ahead and just bend your knees and then do basically knee raises. Same thing, keep your arms in check, make sure they're not swinging, your core is not swinging, your knees are just going up and down, up and down. And once that gets easy for you, go ahead and switch it over to having your legs straight. Another thing I like to go ahead and do for abs is the crunches, but with weight. And now I understand a lot of people are scared that, it used to be a myth, I'm not sure if it's still out there, but I know I used to be scared of it, is that if you use weight for crunches, you actually end up getting a distended stomach, because you're basically increasing the size of your abs. But fortunately, that is not how it works. When you're actually working it out, like I said, your pump or whatever exercise you're doing, you cannot specifically target in an area to where that's the only part that's going to be losing fat or feeling the adversary effects of doing some particular exercise. So the good thing is, doing it with weight, but you do have to make sure that you're doing it correctly. A lot of people will just add weight and they are just forcing these reps. You have to treat it just like any other workout. Your abdominals are muscles. You do have to be able to control the weight, do it correctly if you want the real results. Now, the third thing I would go ahead and suggest is that when you are trying to achieve your abs, please do not compare your body. And this actually isn't about abs, this is just in general. Do not compare your body to someone else's, because everyone's structure is completely different. Now, you may have an identical structure to some people, but most people will differ from you. Some people will start off skinny, and so they're able to maintain their abs as they keep on bulking or cutting or whatever it may be. Your journey is going to be different. So do not compare it to someone else's journey, because you never know what they did to get there. And with that, I hope that helped you guys out with some abdominal muscle gains, and I wish you guys the best in the future. Have a good one.